What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 22 picks correct, which is absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 22 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,500 just yesterday, and another member who won $900 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to ISO Cole, who said I just joined, let's run it up. So shouts out to him, and also shouts out to him for actually joining the exclusive Discord group. Guys, definitely go check that out. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Kayla McBride. And this one is actually for 14.5 points. Or sorry, 14 points. And this one actually is for less. Now looking at Kayla McBride, we actually have seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. But we also do know one of those games she did actually get a push, which means, she got exactly on that line. But looking at, her over the last 5 games, you see on August 16th, faced off against Seattle, had 14 points there. August 9th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 11 points. Then August 11th, faced off against New York Liberty, had 18 points in that matchup. And then New York Liberty again had 17 points on August 17th. And then August 20th against Liberty off a back-to-back-to-back and had 6 points in that matchup. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, we have seen her go on the under quite frequently. And looking at her average over the last 5, it is also 13.2, so slightly below this line. As you all know, Kayla McBride and Minnesota Lynx do face off against none other than Atlanta Dream, and it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. When we look at where both of them do rank, starting off with Minnesota Lynx, we do know Minnesota have done a fantastic job so far this season, because Minnesota actually find themselves in a position where they currently rank first in the WNBA. Not only do they rank first in the WNBA, but they rank first in the Western Conference. They have a 28 wins and 6 losses record, and they also have an 82.4% win percentage. When it comes to that, 17-1 at home, 11-5 from away, and currently on a 1-game win streak. So, when it comes, losing streak. So when you look at, Minnesota Lynx, they just have been playing absolutely fantastic, and they definitely have stuff to show for it. And coming into this matchup against Atlanta Dream, Atlanta aren't too far off, because Atlanta Dream find themselves at the 3rd spot in the WNBA, and they actually rank 2nd in the Eastern Conference. Now they have a record of 22 wins and 13 losses. That's a 62.9% win percentage, and on top of that, they are 10-5 at home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak as well. So, looking at Kayla McBride, we definitely have seen, Kayla McBride do a fantastic job. Sometimes has really struggled. But looking at Atlanta Dream defensively, we do know that they rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. For someone like Kayla McBride, we definitely are expecting the under due to the fact that when you look at a player like Kayla, although she does do a fantastic job at scoring buckets, we have definitely seen her struggle, especially against tougher defensive teams. And coming into this matchup, especially against someone like Atlanta Dream, where Atlanta Dream not only do a fantastic job at restricting points, but also do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position, We definitely see that being a huge factor and why we do very much like the under for this one. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have our favorite for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. And it obviously is pretty hard to also look at the last 5 games and really judge it off that, as she has versed the same team, which was New York Liberty, multiple times. And New York Liberty don't actually do a great job at restricting points, and the fact that, Kayla McBride only made it slightly just over, and actually in the most recent game actually struggled. We definitely are expecting Kayla to remain on the lower side when it comes to going under on her line. So for that reason, Kayla McBride, 14 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than Alana Smith. So Alana Smith, great player, as we all know, and this one is a fantastic one because this one is for 5.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Alana Smith, we have seen her do a fantastic job so far this season, but we do actually find her in the actual spot where she's gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. August 6th, faced off against Seattle, had 4 rebounds there. August 9th, faced off against Washington Mystics, had 5 rebounds. Then August 11th, faced off against Liberty, had 9 rebounds. Then August 17th, faced off against Liberty again, where she had 7 rebounds. And then 9 rebounds against New York Liberty on August 20. Now, obviously, this is from the same game, and that's the reason why you see Alana Smith face off against Liberty 3 times in a row. But looking at Alana Smith and Minnesota Lynx and Atlanta Dream, we have already touched on where they do rank, when it comes to overall in WNBA. Now, Minnesota do rank first and also have a record of 28 wins and 6 losses. But what people forget, over the last 10 games, they've actually had a record of 8-2. So they've been on an absolute, kind of really good run as of lately. And Atlanta Dream also are on a similar type run because Atlanta Dream, as I've mentioned, come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. They have a record of 22 wins and 13 losses, but over the last 10 games have actually had a record of 7 wins and 3 losses as well. So they've actually done a fantastic job there. Now, coming into this one, we do very much like this situation and do like the under for someone like Alana Smith coming into this game. Now, looking at someone like Alana, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job, for the team. But overall, we definitely do very much like this situation here because we do actually see when it comes to Alana Smith, we are actually expecting, the under for this situation. As when we look at Atlanta Dream, we actually do see when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank first. So Atlanta Dream are not only just a really good team at defending rebounds, they are actually the best team at defending rebounds and restricting the most. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do very much like the under for this situation here. For someone like Alana Smith, she definitely has been playing great, but we definitely have seen, at times she's definitely struggled, especially against much tougher matchups. As I mentioned before, when we look at obviously the last 5 games, it is a little bit difficult to really justify over the last 5, as 3 of those games were actually against, New York Liberty. So it really is kind of difficult to really justify anything because New York Liberty do allow a lot of rebounds, and on top of that, they faced off against them 3 times. So this is a little bit skewed when you look at those games. So for that reason, coming into this matchup, we do very much like this situation. We do actually still like the under for this situation here. So Alana Smith, 5.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than Tina Charles. So Tina Charles, great player. This one is for 14.5 points, and this one actually is for less. So this one's for a different game, but this one's also a great one because we have actually seen, her do a fantastic job, but we do like the under because we have definitely, getting into the matchup, we will touch on that. But looking at her last 5 games, you see on August 8th, faced off against LA Sparks, actually had 19 points there, which was interesting to see. August 11th, faced off against the Aces, actually had 8 points. Then against Chicago on August 14th, actually had 15 points. Then 21 points against Indiana on August 18. And then August 20 against Mystics had 13 points there. Now, this one's an interesting one because we do actually see when it comes to, Tina Charles, we actually do like the under for this situation, as Connecticut do face face off against Washington Mystics again. You know, they most recently played, but this is off a back-to-back for Tina. Now, looking at where both of these teams do rank, obviously starting off with, you know, Tina Charles and Connecticut Sun. So Connecticut Sun do actually rank 13th when it comes to actually the WNBA. Not only that, but they also rank last in the Eastern Conference, so it's definitely been a little bit tough there. Now, they do actually have a record of 7 wins and 27 losses. That's a 20.6% win percentage. They're also 5-12 from home, 2-15 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, we have seen time and time again, Tina Charles has sometimes struggled, from points department or just in general, but Connecticut Sun have just definitely been in a bit of a rough patch in a sense that, you know, this season has definitely been tough for them. Now, looking at their matchup, Washington Mystics do actually rank 10th in the WNBA, but they rank a little bit better when it also comes to the same conference because they actually rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 16 wins and 19 losses. That's a 45.7% win percentage. They're also 10-8 from home, 6-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So obviously we do like the under for this situation here, and a big reason for this is that when we look at Washington Mystics, we do actually see Washington Mystics do actually rank 6th when it comes to points allowed. They do rank pretty well when it comes to points allowed. But the reason, and the big reason why we do like the under, is due to the fact that when you look at someone like Tina Charles and also Connecticut Sun, we do very much like the under for this situation, as Washington Mystics actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the center position. So we definitely are expecting someone like Tina Charles to go on the under due to that situation here. For someone like Tina, she definitely has struggled against Washington Mystics, as we did see in that most recent game, and we are expecting a similar sort of outcome coming into this next matchup, no doubt about it. So when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are favored for the under as well. Mystics do a great job at really slowing down the pace of faster paced teams, and we are expecting that from Connecticut Sun, as slower pace for them means less volume, and less volume means less opportunity to score for someone like Tina Charles. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for this one. So Tina Charles, 14.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Saniya Rivers. So Saniya Rivers is a fantastic player for none other than actual Connecticut Sun, and she's done a fantastic job so far this season because we've actually seen her average 8.3 points, 2.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 1.6 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. When we look at Connecticut Sun, we do know that they face off against a great team, which is Washington Mystics. Now, looking at this matchup and looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Connecticut Sun, Connecticut have unfortunately really struggled so far this season because they come in at the 13th spot in the WNBA. Not only do they come in at the 13th spot in the WNBA, but they also rank last in the Eastern Conference as well. Now, they actually have a record of 7 wins and 27 losses. That's a 20.6% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-12 from home, 2-15 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So when it comes to Saniya Rivers, they are looking and hoping to actually try their best and get this win. And they face off against the Mystics, where Mystics do find themselves in a different situation, where Mystics are a little bit higher as they rank 10th in the WNBA, but also rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. So they are in the same conference. Now, on top of that, we also do see when it comes to Mystics, they have a record of 16 wins and 19 losses. That's a 45.7% win percentage. And on top of that, they also are 10-8 from home, 6-11 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it's definitely been a little bit tough for them there. But when we look at Washington Mystics and where they do rank defensively, we do know that Mystics do actually rank 6th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they actually do rank 2nd. So although, Mystics don't really rank very, very well, they still do rank pretty well when it comes to, restricting points, rebounds, and assists. And that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like the under for this situation here for someone like, Saniya Rivers. Now, for someone like Saniya Rivers, not only is she yes, she is a fantastic player, but she doesn't actually have the highest usage rate in this team. There are a lot of other players that do have a higher usage rate, and we are expecting those players to actually, provide more for this team coming into this game. So that's why we are definitely liking, the under for someone like Saniya Rivers. Now, when we look at Saniya over the last 5 games, we have seen some pretty interesting stat lines, starting off with the game on the 11th actually against the Aces. We saw them lose 94-86, but also had 17 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, and 3 steals there. Then on the 12th face-off against Golden State Valkyries, had a 74-57 loss with 9 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then on the 14th, faced off against Chicago Sky, had a 71-62 win with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists in that matchup. Then on the 18th, faced off against Indiana, had a 99-93 loss in overtime with 15 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. After that, against Washington on the 20th, had an 80-69 win with 17 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Saniya Rivers, we have seen her do a fantastic job at some games, and other games hasn't really done too well. But coming into this next one, especially against a team like Mystics, we do very, very much like the under for someone like Rivers, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Natasha Cloud. So Natasha Cloud, great player, as we all know, from none other than New York Liberty. Now, she's done a fantastic job so far this season, averaging 9.9 points, 3.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists, and 1.2 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Natasha Cloud, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, because we do know Natasha Cloud and New York Liberty have themselves a really, really good matchup against Chicago Sky. Now, looking at both of these teams and looking at where Chicago Sky do fall, Chicago Sky do actually come in at a pretty poor spot compared to New York Liberty. Now, we will start off with Sky this time around. So Chicago Sky do actually rank 12th in the actual WNBA. Now, not only do they rank 12th in the WNBA, but they also do rank actually 5th when it comes to, the Eastern Conference. So they rank pretty low there. Now, they have a record of 8 wins and 26 losses, so that's a 23.5% win percentage. They're also 5-13 from home, 3-13 from away, and are currently on a 5-game losing streak. So it's definitely been tough for them there. Now, coming into this one, we do also see when it comes to Natasha Cloud, we have definitely seen her, not only do a great job for New York Liberty, but has actually helped them get to the number 2 spot in the WNBA. Now, they currently are really battling for that number 2 spot, as Atlanta Dream are not far behind, but they currently hold the number 2 spot in the WNBA, first in the Eastern Conference, however, and they have a record of 22 wins, 13 losses, and also a 62.9% win percentage. That's 14-4 at home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So when it comes to Natasha Cloud and New York Liberty, they definitely have done a great job so far this season. And looking at Chicago Sky and where they do rank defensively, Chicago Sky do rank 11th when it comes to points allowed, 10th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also see that they rank 7th. So looking at Natasha Cloud and also Chicago Sky where they rank defensively, we do actually like the over for someone like Cloud, but strictly just for points and assists. And this is just off the basis that Chicago Sky do rank a lot, poor in those 2 categories. So we are expecting someone like Cloud, who does have a higher usage rate in both of those departments, points and assists, be able to take advantage of them much greater. So for someone like this, when we look at Natasha Cloud, we definitely do very, very much like the over for this situation here. And when you look at, Natasha over the last 5 games, we see on the 11th, faced off against Minnesota, had an 83-75 loss there, had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Then on the 13th, faced off against LA Sparks, had a 105-97 win with 11 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists there. Then 14th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, 83-77 with 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. After that, on the 17th, faced off against Minnesota, had an 86-80 loss with 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. And then against Minnesota on the 20th of a back-to-back, had an 85-75 win with 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Natasha Cloud, we definitely have seen her, go on the, under in some games, over on the others. But in the matchup against Chicago Sky, we don't really, or are expecting her to really have any trouble, especially against Chicago Sky, and that's why we do very, very much like the over for this situation here. Getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Brittney Griner. So Brittney Griner from Atlanta Dream has done a fantastic job, and she's actually done a great job for Dream because she's actually averaged 10.4 points, 5.5 rebounds, 0.9 assists, and also 0.1 steals. So we definitely have seen her do a great job there. Now, looking at someone like Griner and Atlanta Dream, we have definitely seen them have some pretty interesting matchups as they do now face off in this next matchup against Minnesota Lynx. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game there. And looking at, where both of these teams do rank, it will be pretty interesting to see because we do know Atlanta Dream do come in at the 3rd spot in the WNBA. Not only do they come in the 3rd spot in the WNBA, but they are also ranked 2nd in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 22 wins and 13 losses. That's a 62.9% win percentage, and on top of that, they are 10-5 at home, 12-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see, obviously, looking at where Brittney Griner is, because she's definitely helped this team grow immensely and be in this position. Now they face off against none other than actually Minnesota Lynx, who are a very, very tough team, as Minnesota Lynx do come in at the number 1 spot in the actual WNBA. And on top of that, they are also ranked 1st in the Western Conference. Now they have a record of 28 wins and 6 losses. That's an 82.4% win percentage. They are 17-1 at home, 11-5 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see, obviously, looking at where they both rank. Because looking at them both, we have actually seen, Atlanta Dream and Lynx face off time and time again in the past, but this one is definitely going to be interesting as it is later on in the season. So, these last couple of games, or I wouldn't say last couple, but this tail end of the season, a lot of these games definitely do matter. But coming into this matchup and looking at where Minnesota Lynx do rank, they have the number 1 spot in the WNBA for the reason. They do still rank number 1 when it comes to points allowed, number 1 when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 5th. So they do rank a little bit lower in that rebounding category, but for someone like Brittney Griner, we still do very, very much like the under for this situation here. And a big reason being is that when you look at someone like Brittney Griner, she does play the center position, and we have seen time and time again that Brittney Griner has actually done a fantastic job at restricting, points, rebounds, and assists to the actual center position. So for someone like Brittney Griner, we actually do like the under, as Lynx do a great job against that, and we definitely are expecting the under for this situation here. Now, for someone like Brittney Griner, we have definitely seen her play some pretty big matchups, but also have been restricted greatly. We see on the 11th, faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had 74-66 win, had 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then on the 14th, faced off against Seattle Storm, had an 85-75 win with 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, against Seattle again on the 16th, had a 80-78 loss, had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 0 assists. Then 8 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist against Golden State Valkyries on the 18th with a 79-63 win. And on the 20th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had a 74-72 loss with 16 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and also 2 steals. So as I mentioned before, Brittney Griner at times has definitely done a great job, other times definitely struggled, but coming into this next one, we do very, very much like the under for this situation here. Getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Lexi Held. So Lexi Held from actually Phoenix Mercury has definitely done a fantastic job for them. And looking at this matchup, we do know, well, starting off with Lexi Held and where she's actually done defensively and also offensively, we do see she has actually averaged 6.4 points, 1.3 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and also 1 steal to top it all off. Now, when it comes to Lexi and the Phoenix Mercury, they do have themselves a great matchup against the Las Vegas Aces. It is definitely going to be an exciting game because looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Phoenix Mercury do come in at the number 4 spot in the WNBA, and not only that, but they also do rank actually second in the actual Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 21 wins and 13 losses. That's a 61.8% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 11-6 at home, 10-7 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. On top of that, they face off against the Aces, where the Aces do rank, 5th in the WNBA, so very, very close, and also rank 3rd in the Western Conference. So they are very close to each other when it comes to actually ranking. And looking at this matchup, we do also know when it comes to actually, the Aces and Mercury, the Aces do have a record of 22 wins and 14 losses, so very, very close. Also a 61.1% win percentage, also 13-5 at home, 9-9 from away, and are currently on an 8-game win streak. So it's definitely been interesting to see there. Now, coming into this matchup, we do also see when it comes to, both of these teams, they both are continuing to fight for a big spot in the playoffs, as later down the season continues. But looking at, Aces defensively, obviously we are looking at Lexi Held. Aces do rank 9th when it comes to points allowed, also rank 9th when it comes to assists allowed, and you guessed it, 9th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So we actually have seen Aces do a pretty poor job when it comes to restricting, points, rebounds, and assists. And that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like the actual, over for someone like Lexi. Now, Lexi is a great player, but on top of that, the fact that Aces do really struggle at actually, restricting points, rebounds, and assists, we definitely are expecting someone like Lexi to be able to go on the over in a situation like this. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for someone like Lexi Held. Now, looking at her last 5 games, we did see on the 4th, faced off against Chicago, had an 83-67 win there with 5 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Then on the 6th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had an 82-66 win with 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. After that, on the 8th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had a 95-60 win with 5 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists again. And then on the 18th, faced off against Seattle with an 85-82 win with 3 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist. And then on the 20th, faced off against, Golden State Valkyries with a 98-91 win with actually 3 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at where, all of our stats have actually lied, we definitely have seen her struggle against tougher teams. But obviously, coming into this next one, it isn't going to be that much of a tough team. Aces really do struggle when it comes to restricting points, rebounds, and assists, and that's why we do very, very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Lexi, whether it's points, rebounds, or assists.